When Tesla joined the Chinese EV market in 2014, the country's EV sector was in the midst of a rebirth. For the last several years, the Austin, Texas-based manufacturer has produced a catfish effect, in which a strong business like Tesla forces weaker competitors to step up their game, especially in China's electric vehicle industry. Now that Tesla's sardine-sized Chinese rivals have grown into large fishes in the pond, they're slowly but surely hurting Tesla's own significance in the industry. What has caused China to expand at a faster rate than any other nation in the world, and by such a large margin? What are the projections for future EV sales in China? And what should an investor look for before making a decision to invest in EV firms in China? All this is to come, so be sure to stay around and watch till the end. Welcome back to New Vehicle Media, your go-to channel for EV stock. Quick reminder, subscribing's free, and liking the video helps YouTube suggest similar content. Comments are loved and featured in upcoming videos. For China's electric vehicle sector, last year marked a historic moment. According to the most recent figures from the China Passenger Car Association or CPCA, overall EV sales in China in 2021 increased 169.1% from the previous year to roughly 2.99 million units, which accounted for nearly half of all EVs sold worldwide. Put in perspective, this means in the last year, over 15 out of every 100 cars sold in China were either a plug-in hybrid or an EV. Despite US President Joe Biden's efforts, China's record EV sales and market share far outstripped those in the US. In 2021, the US sold 567,000 light-duty electric and hybrid cars, which was less than 20% of China's total sales. However, when expressed as a percentage of total car sales, it isn't a good picture either. EVs accounted for just 4% of overall car sales in the US. That is 11% lower than China's 15% and well short of the White House's goal of 50% by the year 2030. That's because the in-house manufacturers in China had some major leaps last year. By sales, BYD of China, backed by billionaire investor Warren Buffett, has seized the top spot for the second year in a row. The Shenzhen-based business delivered a mind-boggling 584,000 electric vehicles during 2021, doubling its sales total from the year before. This was partly due to the popularity of low-cost plug-in hybrids. Next, SAIC GM Wuling, a joint venture between SAIC Motor, General Motors, and Lizhu Wuling Motors, was ranked second in terms of sales. Wuling produces some of the most popular electric vehicle types in China, mini electric vehicles that cost roughly $5,000 apiece, money that won't even buy you Tesla's full self-driving. But if you're in China, you can get yourself Wuling's mini EV. Seeing it so cheap, I'm not surprised that they sold more than 430,000 EVs in total. China was also a record setter for Tesla in terms of sales too. In China, much like it is in the United States, owning a Tesla is considered a status symbol. Last year, the automaker from the US sold over 320,000 vehicles in China. Particularly noteworthy is that Tesla's Shanghai facility delivered a total of 480,000 cars in 2021, which made up about half of the company's total worldwide deliveries. Long story short, China's electric vehicle sales in 2021 were the best performing in the world, increasing by more than 2.5 times the amount of sales in 2020, reaching 3,396,000 units in 2021, or roughly half of all global electric car sales. For one thing, China is the world's biggest automobile market, which explains why Tesla chose this country to house its first production factory outside of the United States. Chinese EV makers have been working to take advantage of that too. NIO, XPeng, and Li Auto have all had rapid growth in sales over the past couple of years. In fact, the Chinese EV industry's spectacular achievement in 2021 didn't happen by accident. Favorable rules in favor of this business have been in place for more than a decade. Since 2010, the National Administration has supported almost every electric or hybrid vehicle purchase with a rebate of up to $10,000. However, after 2016, the amount of the subsidy was reduced, and many cars, ranging from hybrids to small-sized vehicles, have been removed from the list of qualified vehicles. Yet, the significant incentives contributed in the expansion of the new force, as well as the establishment of CATL, the world's biggest battery provider. Analysts predict that EV sales will continue to grow even more in 2022 than it had been the previous year. It's also expected that China may achieve its 20% EV market share objective sooner than anyone expected. The CPCA has increased its prediction for EV sales in China for this year from the originally noted 4.8 million units to an even more ridiculous number of over 5.5 million units that will mark the 25% of the nation's 2022 automobiles. That is impressive. At this rate, the 50% electrification that the US is trying to achieve by 2030, China will achieve it as early as 2025. All this is good talk, but if you're an investor, there is something you need to take into account when investing in a Chinese EV business. And that is that China has decided to end its subsidy program for electric vehicle producers. China will reduce new energy vehicles incentives by 30% in 2022 and then completely phase out subsidies in 2023. As quoted by the Global Times, the subsidy volume for pure electric vehicles with a range of more than 400 kilometers will be reduced by 5,400 yuan in 2022, based on the formula set by policymakers. 5,400 Chinese yuan is about $846 US. So, not really a huge loss in terms of CNY or USD. So, it's not a lot, but when you think on a large scale, especially when millions of these EVs are sold every year, it adds up to a significant figure. That's why, as per the experts, these subsidy cuts are expected to have one of three effects. One is that China's new energy vehicles manufacturers absorb the cut in subsidies. This indicates that they will make around $850 less in profit for each car they sell. Second, pass on the cut in subsidies to the end user. This means the customer has to pay an extra $850 for every EV they purchase. The third option is a mix of option 1 and 2, so both customer and the automaker bear half of this total cost. The third option seems to be the most likely, since the burden will be divided and neither party will take the full hit. For what it's worth, the ultimate China subsidy cut, that is, no more incentives starting in 2023, would likely decrease sales in China somewhat, but not much, since the significance of electric vehicle incentives has been eroding year after year as electric cars and batteries scale up and prices go down. But I'm curious to hear what you think about the electric vehicle industry in China. Do you believe they've taken advantage of Tesla's expertise in the local manufacturing? Let us know what you think by leaving a comment down below. Like Tesla, Lucid also has Chinese expansion on its calendar, but Suk Mik-ok sees it backfiring as it could cause an overload of orders which Lucid might have trouble keeping up with. He hopes that Lucid expands one continent at a time. That should wrap things up for today. Keep in mind that subscribing is still free, and liking helps YouTube recognize your preferences. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.